Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down just one single powerful number, a statistic that reveals a pretty shocking truth about the American economy and what it actually costs to be average right now.
So let's start here. Picture this. It's that quiet, sinking feeling, right? A moment of panic that, might feel painfully familiar to a lot of people. A simple, necessary purchase suddenly becomes a crisis.
But what if this situation isn't some kind of personal failure? What if it's just average? For millions, this is the razor-thin margin of being perfectly statistically average. And today, we're going to follow the money and see exactly why.
Okay, so to really get what average means here, we've got to look at this term, median household income. Now, this isn't about the crazy high earners or the folks struggling at the bottom. This is the dead center, the statistical middle of the road for the entire country. And that's our starting point. And here it is, $84,000. Now, on the surface, that sounds pretty decent, doesn't it? I mean, 84 grand. That sounds like it should be enough for a pretty comfortable, stable life. But, well, let's see what happens when reality kicks in.
Okay, let's dive in. We're going to start chipping away at that number with the two biggest, most unavoidable costs everybody has to deal with.
So, first up, before you can even dream of spending a single dollar on anything, Uncle Sam gets his cut. Federal and state taxes. This is the first and, one of the biggest chunks taken out right away.
All right, so if we use a pretty common estimate, say a 25% effective tax rate, that's 21 grand, gone, just like that, right off the top. So that $84,000 is already down to $63,000 for the year. Next up, the big one, the single biggest monthly bill for pretty much every family out there, keeping a roof over your head. We're talking rent or a mortgage.
Okay, so let's pull out the national average for housing costs, which comes to about $25,200 a year. And boom, our annual total plummets down to just $37,800. Wow, I mean, we've barely started and more than half the income is just gone.
All right, next up, let's look at the costs you have to pay just to be able to earn that income in the first place. These aren't fun extras. For most people, this is the price of admission to the workforce.
I mean, to get to those jobs, you likely need a car. And if you have two people working, you probably need two cars. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. So we have to factor in car payments, insurance, gas, maintenance, the whole deal for two cars.
So let's pencil in a pretty conservative estimate here. Say $12,000 a year for two cars. That's for the payments, the gas, the insurance. And just like that, our pot of money shrinks again. We are now down to just $25,800 for the entire year to cover everything else.
And here's a huge one. For parents to actually go to those jobs and drive those cars, somebody has to take care of the kids, right? And that cost, man, it has become an absolutely massive and for a lot of families, a totally crushing expense.
Okay, get ready for this, because this one is staggering. Based on national averages, childcare can cost over $20,000 a year. So once we subtract that, let's be precise, $20,280, look what's left. For the entire year, just $5,520.
Let's just pause on that for a second. $5,520 a year. Let's really put that into perspective. What does that actually mean for a family trying to get by, day to day, week to week?
So here it is, all laid out. This chart just puts it all in stark relief, doesn't it? You see that starting income of 84 grand, and then you just watch it get eaten away by taxes, housing, transportation, and child care. It's just wild to see how it shrinks down to that tiny fraction at the end.
So that's the yearly number. But the real gut punch is what this family has to work with each month to cover everything else life throws at them. So you take that annual remainder, you divide it by 12, and you get a pretty shocking number.
$460. That's it. After all the big, non-negotiable bills are paid, the average American household has just $460 left over for the entire month.
And this brings us right back to where we started, that declined card at the grocery store. This really forces us to redefine what broke even means. What's the real difference between just surviving and actually thriving?
So let's really think about this. What does $460 a month actually have to cover? I mean, really, that single small amount is supposed to handle every other variable, every surprise for a whole family for a whole month. Because that $460, it has to stretch across all of this. Groceries, the light bill, your internet and phone, student loans. What about a flat tire? or a copay when your kid gets sick. New shoes. And we haven't even whispered the word savings. There's just no way. It's an impossible task.
And this, right here, is the key takeaway from all this math. In America today, being average doesn't mean you're comfortable. It means you're living on a financial knife's edge. There's basically zero margin for error. One bad day, one unexpected bill, and the whole thing can fall apart.
So we'll leave you with this question to chew on. If this is the reality for the average household, what does it even mean to be financially secure today? Because when you understand this math, this simple, brutal math, it changes the entire conversation about what it really takes to make it in America.